Sweatbox, I will fight you. I gotta clean up in this office, dear God. Hey guys. Hi guys. How are you guys today? So I have a bunch of 1K Sun Terminators that I need to build that I've been neglecting. And I need to get this done. And we're just waiting on Zula, so that way we can do an interview with them. I want to talk to them for a while. It's just schedule. It's taking forever. But you know what? We're here now. Oh, I'm waiting for the person that we're going to interview today while I'm also building Scarab Occult Terminators. They'll be on in like probably an hour, like half an hour here, but in the meantime, we can just talk about stuff. We could talk about the state of the wargaming community. We could talk about my everlasting need to cast spells, but Grey Knights continue to fucking say no to me, and I hate them. It's not appearing on the stream. Oh, that's because it's small, my guy. That's because it's small. Because I put it in the corner. Ta-da! 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 See? It's there. Chat is there. You can see it. You can feel it. You can taste it. It's impressive, though, that you can taste it. The missing legions. Oh, what do you want to know about them? Because we have very little knowledge, but I can enlighten you. It's like, how many are there? Okay, so originally there were 20 legions. The 20 legions. Each with their own respective Primarch. 2 of them are missing. It is the 2nd and the 11th legions that are missing. And we don't know why. We've had it hinted to us through years, but there's 2 answers to this. Short answer is that GW, whatever answer GW and Black Library gives, it will never meet the hype. So it's best if they just leave the 2nd and 11th legions as they are. Long answer. It's fairly complicated, but we've gotten a few hints here and there about the fate of those 2 legions. We actually did get a soft confirmation about what happened to them. They were absorbed into the Imperial Fists and the Ultramarines. Because the Ultramarines and the Imperial Fist numbers swelled. Like, overnight. And it took everybody by shock. And we don't exactly have the answer, and neither would those Legionaries, because it's kind of confirmed by Malkador that if that did happen, wink wink, we would have to alter their memories. And it was kind of left there. We did get a lot more answers later on. That's up for debate. Because when they refer to them, they refer to the 2nd and 11th Primarchs as the lost and the failed. They, at no point do they talk to them as they are traitors. Like, during the Unremembered Empire, which is a Ultramarines, Salamanders, and Blood Angels book, where it's basically just Avengers 40k. But the conversation between Sanguinius and Gulliman is that while they're in the Fortress of Hera, they're inside this personal chamber room that Gulliman made for the Primarchs to basically have meetings in. And there are 20 chairs, and 9 of those chairs have been removed. But 2 of them have not been, and they only have a black flag over them. Sanguinius says, why do you still prepare their side of the table if they aren't here? And Gulliman says, just because they aren't here doesn't mean I'm going to abandon tradition. I.e., he doesn't hold them in the same respect that he would hold, like, Angron, Lorgar, and Horus in this aspect. It's made very clear that these 2 were not traitors, and rereading the books, it's very likely they aren't even dead either. Rarely do they refer to them as dead, and when they do refer to them that way, they're referring it into a sense like, you're dead to me. Like, you did something wrong to me, so you're dead to me. Kind of way. Not that they are literally dead. Which is honestly a lot more fascinating than a lot of other things. It's a very nuanced take when it comes to a mystery. Is that it's a mystery that everybody knows, but no one wants to talk about. And the last time someone tried to bring it up, i.e. the arch-traitor himself, while he was still a loyalist, Malcador gave him an aneurysm over it. It was kind of terrifying, actually, that, like, Horus was like, I will not see my brother's legion be turned into, before he could even say the name of the guy, Malcador just stared him down, gave him an aneurysm, and said, anyone else? Anyone fucking else? It really sets that motion that we have an idea about what happened to them, but we don't know the specifics. There is actually, if you want a good talk about the Lost Legions, Arbitrator Ian on YouTube, he did a very good job talking about it and has done a lot of research into it. Especially since, like, he actually went through all 54 books of the Horus. Okay. He went through all 54 books. And to say the least, that, holy shit, there's a lot going on there. I really need to figure out a better layout for this. And Alpharius is a traitor. Okay. How do I put this? Okay, so the Alpha Legion are complicated. They are a very, very complicated legion. Like, to the point where even they themselves think they are too complicated. Because it's sort of like that thing where it's like a tick in their head. That, like, if they aren't being complicated, they're doing something wrong. And that was probably programmed into them, I think. But when you read their book, Legion, by the way, really good book. Really good book. They are shown the future by an alien race by an alien hegemony known as the Cabal. The Cabal show them the 40K future. And, well, they show them two futures. The 40K future, which is where if the Emperor wins the Civil War, and the future if Horus wins the Civil War. Basically, if the Emperor wins, 40K happens. If Horus wins, he'll be so disgusted with himself. He will hate himself so much that he will cause another civil war amongst chaos. And basically, all of humanity will die, but chaos will go with it. Alpharius incorrectly assumes that, no, the Emperor wants chaos to die. Which he does. He does want chaos to die. It's his goal. But the difference is that Alpharius is looking at a general no-win scenario. And basically says that, nope, I'm siding with Horus because humanity may die, but the rest of the galaxy will get to live on. His twin brother Omegon, however, has a very different look at that, and he actually does a bit more of the questioning than Alpharius did. He's asking, why should we trust an alien cabal that has knowingly shown us two futures and was being fucking pedantic with us? And dancing around the bush the entire time. Why should we listen to them? What if they're wrong? While Alfarius is just going, nope! Walking down the street, Taurus is the man! Yeah, let's cause some motherfucking war. Alfarius is the confirmed traitor. Like, Alfarius is a traitor. Omegon just goes along with Alfarius, but every time Omegon does something, it is to harm both sides. I.e., he'll put on a show of hurting the loyalists, but he's not going to let the traitors have it either. Alright, I think we are good to call her. Boop.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Okay, I can hear you. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing. How do I...
Like, since you're messing with stuff, I'm like, why can't I hear anything?
Oh, that's because streamer mode's on, I think.
Probably. Probably mean a pain in the tail.
Probably. I'm just trying to figure out how to make this go full screen. I can do that, and then I can do that. Nope, that just brings that back. Oh, no.
No.
Alright, well, I'm gonna just do
really,
that. Right,
Like, I know mine, I got the Twitch up, like, just watching. And it lags on me once in a while, but I think it's just because it's Twitch.
Boom! Okay, I'm just in the middle of this now. Hello, Zula! How are you today?
Doing good. You know, that could be it too. My camera's not on.
Oh, there we go. That helps. That helps a lot.
Technical difficulties.
Very much technical difficulties.
All is good. Hey, now it's caught up on Twitch. It just caught up on Twitch.
Yeah, my Twitch is like a few seconds behind me, so like things happen and it's dumb.
So normal.
I can't set it to I can't set it to normal because like it just messes with my system a lot and just drives me nuts.
Y'all can see all my hobby mess.
Oh, trust me, if my camera wasn't directed, you'd probably be seeing the state of my fucking desk. It
I'll
is
lose my chips.
terrible. No, you're fine. Don't worry. We're wargamers. We're hobbyists. Our spaces are going to be a mess.
Yeah, just a little.
Oh no, the Amazon boxes. Oh god. Oh, the boxes. Don't you talk about my boxes. I like boxes.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But
Oh yeah, that's like a good 30 seconds delay.
yeah.
Okay, anyways.
Anyway. So, how are you this fine day?
Long day, tired day. Started the day off in 34-degree weather. And then, you know, it warmed up finally, but it's just been a long day. I worked and just...
I am not the American, but it's like -20 up here, so...
Yeah. Yeah, it's cold. Well, you're much further north than I am, so...
I live under the mountains, so it's even colder up here.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, people forget California can get that cold. Like, do you not know what Tahoe is? Yosemite? It gets cold here, too. It's not just, oh, pretty beach.
It's cold. The roads suck. Don't worry. Traffic will get better. We'll just build another road.
Pretty much. Hello, Shard. How are you? Yes, boxes are amazing. That's why I have so many.
Yes. I have, like, box of Thousand Sun Rubric Terminators down there. My Indominus box because I made a custom-made Marine for an art contest. Which you can see here, chat.
I still got stuff in plastic, like plastic wrap that's not open.
Oh, no.
I told myself I was going to sell stuff, and I went, no, I want to play it all. I'm back to, I don't need 2 copies of Cursed City, do I?
YouTube chat does not appear on stream. That's odd. I don't know why YouTube chat's not appearing on stream, Fall Might. It's probably just my system glitching up again. I'll fix it later. Alright!
It's YouTube, the Twitch. They don't like each other.
No, they don't. Twitch is being stupid. Fun fact I learned today. from a show called Pre-Game Discharge. Do you want to know what makes you into the 1% of Twitch? I want you to take a
What's
wild
that?
I want you to take a wild guess at how much of a viewer count you need to have to be in the 1% of Twitch.
Oh, geez. Probably several thousand,
Nope.
I would imagine.
Mm-mm.
Really?
26 views. You need 26 concurrent viewers to be in the top 1% of Twitch.
That doesn't seem right.
It is, and it's stupid.
Yeah, I think the most I've had about 200 people most when I was painting and doing things for special events.
Congrats! You're part of the 1%.
But that's usually when I'm doing like my charity events. It's been a while since I've done those. I need to do those again. Yeah. In time.
In time. Do they like owls? Do you like owls?
Yes. Yes. Oh God, yes.
There you go, Fall Knight. You got your answer. Sorry, that's one of my.
Animal, I will boop it. I will boop half my critters on this wall too. Why do you think I like squids?
You like squids?
Yeah, to boop them.
The boop, the squid. Give the squid boop. But we are here not just to have a good time and talk and get to know each other over a fancy dinner and then laugh about our misgivings. We are
soda and chips. Beautiful night.
Beautiful night. I had Skittles, but I ate them. We are here to talk about the wargaming community and the problems within.
Yeah.
And
one of those sometimes taboo subjects because of how defensive people can get with it.
It's very much a thing where people, and I was guilty of this too, by the way. I want to make that very clear. I was guilty of some of this shit too. I didn't actually understand the arguments that people were making because back then people made horrible fucking arguments and didn't explain it that well.
Shard. So, okay, so that might help first. So, I'm Zula Mandi. I have been an ongoing Twitch streaming, more TikTok-y persona kind of person. I do mainly painting on my streams in general. I do 40K, I do Age of Sigmar, I do War Machine, I do Hordes, I do Riot Quest. I have a huge like encyclopedia of like all kinds of tabletop games. I've been gaming for almost 30 years. This stuff, the minis and stuff's only been about a little shy of 3 years, but I am hardcore, true to nature, legit gaming nerdy person. I am been a voice actress for Riot Quest's drama they had, the little like podcast they did for a while. If you're familiar with War Machine and know of Riot Quest, you're looking at Widget.
Oh shit, you're Widget?
I'm Widget.
Fuck, I didn't know that.
Yep. Now where are my jelly beans? Damn it. Yeah, I'm Widget. I'm also playing James in the podcast.
Ooh.
But yeah, Widget's. I mean, if you know Wonka Widget, she was based off of that stuff I brought into being Widget because of my whole joke with the jelly beans. That's why the candy thing happened.
So
yeah.
My experience with War Machine was pretty short. I tried to get into it. I tried playing the Russian inspired army. Khadorans. And then I played 2 games, and instead of, taking the time to teach me how the game works, how everything about the game, trying to get me interested, I was thrown into 2 games where I basically got my ass beat, didn't know what the hell I was doing, and then got yelled at for moving a unit wrong. So I decided to say...
I could see that.
It bugged the crap out of me, so I stopped. And then apparently the community died where I lived, so...
That happened in a lot of places, because the whole... I don't want to talk bad of Private Press, because of them I've gotten where I am in things, but it's not surprising.
Well, it's not necessarily the manufacturer's fault, I want to say. it's part of the wargaming community in general.
That, and there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that kind of caused a community thing, and just people kind of got tired of some things.
Yeah, so I guess we can start there with just how toxic our community can be.
It can be bad on both ends.
You've most likely gotten it way worse than I have. Considering that you are the female, or
the female.
The female.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a thing, and it. So yeah, I've been gaming since the early '90s. I didn't get in the 40K and stuff like that till more recently, because when I tried to get into it back in 2001, 2002,
oh no,
I was told I was like checking out the game table. I don't remember what armies were there. And I remember looking like, oh, this looks really fun. And I literally had a guy look over me. Well, you wouldn't understand how to play. From a history of already playing D&D, Magic the Gathering, Lord knows how many other kind of tabletop games in general. And I kind of look at him like, excuse me? He's like, women don't understand these kind of games. You can just move along. Well, F Warhammer then.
To be fair, when I looked at Warhammer 5th edition, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Because
it's very overwhelming.
5th edition was like the start of rules bloat, and I was like, I got into it, and then I played 6th edition. I'm like, wow, I don't know half the shit I'm doing.
Yeah, and it's so yeah, the things I have encountered is literally being not taken serious. You know, it's like I'll come into a game store. Like I had a couple years ago, a former friend of mine. I say former friend because, anyways, fair warning, I'm very like 18 older. I don't give a fuck. But he got me into the 40K because he had his own store. And I never got it from him. He was anyone comes in his door, boom, here's the game, let's go. But I'd walked into a more local Warhammer shop, walked in with a friend of mine, and I was completely disregarded. And we were there for my stuff. Like, I'm looking for this paint, and these two models. Do you have them? And he looks over at my best friend and starts talking to him, ignoring my request. And I'm like, hey, I play, he doesn't. Now, do you have so-and-so, and these two paints? Oh, what, you're just trying to, get into it? Like, no, I've been into it. That's why I know what I want. It's,
so
horrible.
This is something that I've never experienced. The only time that I've ever experienced something like that is when I made my political views known, and that's where like things started to click a little bit. And they were just like, so you gonna like start screaming at us so we don't have female Marines on the table? I'm like, what the fuck? No. What are you talking about? You just said a incorrect statement and I corrected it. And
so on that front, oh my god, I've had this argument. I had that argument about the female Space Marines. I'm like, first of all, look at the lore and the history of the Space Marines. You want female Space Marines? Build a new lore. Build it in. Bring it in. Don't change what's there when it comes to lore and storylining. They're that way for a reason. It's like stormtroopers. They're clones.
It's even more fucked up is that you can shut them down by saying female Space Marines did exist in the lore. They existed in Rogue Trader, which is still treated as dubious canon.
Well, there you go then. See, that part I didn't know about.
Yeah, so they were originally metal models, where it was like you could buy 2 of them like per pack, because Rogue Trader was more of a D&D system than it was a wargaming simulator. But the models didn't sell well, as did many models, and they just shacked them real quick. They would then be part of the inspiration to make the Sisters of Battle, but the Sisters of Battle lore is just so much different that they don't count as Space Marines no matter who fuck keeps telling people that Sisters of Battle are Space Marines. They are not. They are a religious institution in 40k. They are nuns with guns. That is the joke.
They did Space Marines. They would destroy them. No. Oh God.
Though,
I like Space Marines because they're just, run of the mill army for the most part. The Sisters of Battle, oh heck no! Don't you dare. No.
but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
As well is that something else they don't like to be brought up, those people that make these arguments like female Space Marines can't exist. In the lore, Malkador actually chewed the Emperor out a little bit. And the Emperor laughed him off. But basically he said, yeah, 20 Sun, you think you should, like, maybe add in some female chromosomes in there, so that way it's not just a fucking sausage fest? Because it's scientifically proven that when you have women in the room, people are acting smarter. Like, people act smarter, and it's not a dick measuring contest, because, Perturabo and Dorn would totally do that. The Emperor laughed him off because the Emperor is a dickhead. And it's not... It's frustrating, because, like, we have the technology in the lore to do it. I.e., fucking Belisarius Cawl. I'm a wizard of Space Marines now. The man who is quoted verbatim while a Primaris Marine is saying, you ruined me, look at the monster you made me into. Belisarius Cawl turns his fucking cranial rusted neck upside down like an owl, turns to this man and says, shut up, I made you better. The man who has figured out how to make Marines now, like, not just like, oh, I'm replicating the science like an apothecary does. No, I can make a fucking gene seed. Watch this cool shit. He's figured it out. He can make female Space Marines. He's just too busy bitching at Gilliman that he isn't Fabricator General of Mars yet. Anyway.
I don't know all of the lore. I really don't. And that's partially because not that I don't care about it, but when I first got into it, I literally had that kind of friend that sat here with book after book after book, and I'm like, dude.
I don't do that to people anymore. I tried that once and it did not work. When it comes to lore, I say the interesting stuff that is relevant to the conversation at hand. And if someone asks me what 40k books would I recommend for them for lore, I look at them and I just generally say, are you wanting to just get into the universe itself, no context, no nothing, just be thrown into the shit, or do you want the backstory? Because I have three answers depending on what they give me. If it's backstory, I just throw the first book of the Horus Heresy at them and say, read what you want from there. Then, if they want 40k, but they just want to be dropped into the shit, read Caiaphas Cain or read any Imperial Guard novel, you'll be fine. Or, if you want to read about Space Marines, literally start with Dark Imperium, because you're just as confused as Gulliman.
I have the Caiaphas Cain book behind me.
Yes. Caiaphas Cain, the hero of the Imperium. Robbed again of a fucking slot in the Imperial Guard Codex. And same by the way with his Inquisitor girlfriend. Fuck, is she hot, and she deserves a fucking spot. And not just hot because, like, oh, she's pretty and she has big titties, but hot as in she's legitimately funny and she's sassy, and I love that about her, because
There you go.
There's a scene in, I have Caiaphas Cain, Hero of the Imperium, as an audiobook. And in that book, she is basically reading over the notes of Caiaphas Cain and basically just trying to, like, organize it into a journal. And throughout the book, she is making, like, commentary like, oh, when he's talking about this, he actually meant this. Or he's actually wrong on that because he's a fucking idiot. But this is actually how it works. And there's this funny little scene in the book where, like, this enemy has her in his sights, and he's, like, firing his las pistol at her. She ducks, but her refractor field which is basically not a refractor field, a displacer field activates, which essentially, when someone shoots at you, it moves you out of the way of that weapon. And it can teleport you either across the planet or like a few feet. And she's teleported a few feet into the next room while she's trying to dodge and duck for cover, like try to combat roll. Teleport, combat rolls into a fucking china cabinet.
Oh my gosh.
And she makes the comment in the book, that was a stupid place to put a china cabinet anyways. It's so funny and so subtle, but I love it. But
see, and that's the kind of stuff, like, I haven't read through those, or I haven't taken the time to, because I just don't read anymore, and those are things I find fascinating to learn about. But it can't be expected to know all that going into a gaming room, you know, but that's kind of the expectation it always feels like. Like, if I can't solve their little trivia games, I'm not good enough to play at their table. That's what I've encountered.
Yeah, and it's been easy enough for me because, haha, I'm autistic. I retain stupid information. And I'm going to say it right now, 40k information is fucking stupid. It's just my hobby, and I love my hobby. But having that information makes it easier for me to just slide into a conversation. But, it's given me a lot of perspective when it comes to the community, in that I know like 2 girls that actually know 40k lore. They don't know everything, as can be expected. No one should expect everyone to know everything. But I remember them specifically that they didn't know this specific event that happened in 40k, and they were just lambasted for it. And I'm like, I didn't know that either. Fuck, I didn't even know, like, the Tau had a 4th and 5th sphere expansion in the lore.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like, what? You didn't know that? But you're the 40k lore nerd. Yeah. Doesn't mean that I, like, am on it 24/7. Fuck, I didn't even know that Commissar fucking Yarrick died till, like, 2 days ago.
Yeah, I saw that flying around, but to me, I'm like, another bit of lore I don't, particularly care about, because again, it's been so, I don't know, that's been my, like I said, my problem is when I've tried to go play, if my army's not 100%, or if I'm still trying to figure out the mechanics, it's no, let me clarify this. This isn't every single place. This isn't every single group, every single team. It's more often than not. Like, I've been around some really cool people and some really good groups. But as a whole, I literally can walk in and I'm viewed as, oh, what, does your boyfriend play? Wait, what? Who? Oh, you paint. Is that for your boyfriend? No. Or the other way. Oh, does your boyfriend paint these? No. I'm the painter. This is all me. This has nothing to do with anybody else. But that's usually the first set of questions, or ideology, and it sucks.
So, so here in my hometown, we actually had a White Dwarf article about what happened in our local hobby store, and this I know these 2 personally, and they're very nice. This wife and husband duo made a Imperator Titan, which is like the biggest Titan in the game. And like it is like 2 human scale. It is fucking huge. If I could find it without doxing myself. Actually, I can just text it to you. Probably.
That'll work, yeah.
It's sitting in the basement. It's sitting in the gaming area of the hobby store that I go to. But, let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, just send me it later. Don't worry about it right now.
Yeah, I'll send it to you later. Anyway, the wife of that duo, she is a fantastic painter. She doesn't play the game, but when she does, she makes it very clear about whose army this is. And she plays the Yanari, so the Eldar Death Goddess army, and she plays knights. But she plays them with her own little spin. Her knights are inspired by Sailor Moon. her favorite anime. So you got like Night Moon, Night Venus, Night Jupiter, Night Mars, Night Saturn.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and they're painted up with their emblems, like their respective emblems on like the carapace of the armor. And it's sick. I wish I could find these pictures. I just have to scour her Facebook for it. Not in a creepy way.
I just want to see the minis.
I just want to see the videos. Why? Why is there so many bikini pictures? Stop! I don't want to be a creep. But and then her Yanari army, for the longest time, she was waiting for like she was doing her project, so she proxied in a Sailor Moon model as the Akarn, as like the fucking avatar of death for the Eldar. And then when she finally put the Yakarn on the table, it was fabulous. Sparkles and pink and purple and just, oh my god. The most sparkles everywhere. And someone asked her like, oh, who painted this? She looked them dead in the eye and said, I did. Now, are you going to sit here and ask more stupid questions, or are you just here to annoy the crap out of me? And the guy just walked away. And that was with a game against my brother at the same time. So, like, pretty interesting day that was.
Yeah, and it's like, I can understand sometimes, because, like, so I was talking with my roomie about this, or, talking about how we were talking about doing this today. And so, here's the thing is, like, a part of it is from years and years ago, women weren't really involved in the gaming community. They wanted nothing to do with your average nerd and things like that. So, and the harassment and treatment of how women were toward those kind of guys kind of set that stone, like, whoa, female, what? Oh, she's here to just troll us. She's here to just give us crap. She's not here to play. Yeah, I am. Bull. No, I really want to play, Your boyfriend making you do? No, I want to play the game. Give me the dice.
Give me the shiny click clacks.
Yes, give me the math rocks. People.
I guess I remember that it's not an excuse, by the way. It's not an excuse, and I made sure to tell them that that's not an excuse. But my friend said that back then, because I was born in '98. I have no idea it was like being raised in the '90s. I was raised in the 2000s.
85.
85. But when it came to wargaming and such, it was very much advertised as a boys' club. And when it came to nerdy stuff, nerds for the longest time were the exiles of the groups. That if you're smart, you just kind of got lumped in with them. And it led to a very nasty thing where that, like, this is our space because everyone else kicked us out of theirs. And if anybody else from that space, women, jocks, whatever the fuck, come into our space, we're going to be just as hostile to them as they are to us. And that doesn't make it right. It's understandable why that mentality would happen, but just because it's understandable does not make it right. And
I agree with that.
My fiance, who is non-binary, but still is female presenting some days and some days not, and my friend, who is now my editor, they both went down to my local hobby store. And I like to say that my local hobby store is better than the rest, but we still have some jagoffs. And they expressed to me that they felt uncomfortable there. Because they're not treated as people, they're treated as objects. People to be gawked at, like, a female in our presence? What is the context to this visit?
Exactly. So when I started going up, when I first moved up to where I'm at now, there was a place called Nerdtopia, and there was already the resident, good-looking gal. Very, very, would make a Slanesh proud level of chest. And then I come in, and I'm I guess to most of them, the new, I'm the redhead, I'm the cute one. But the way she acted with those guys being the one that got all that attention, she was very like, yes, everyone wants me. So I walk in and be like, hey guys, got some dice? They projected that same energy she had onto me. So all of a sudden they like, oh, well, she's like this. She must be like this too because they're both gaming nerds. It's like, no, 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 no. I'm here to play games, not find a date. Go away.
I already have a partner. Fuck off.
Yeah, and like even as being single, I'm going in the game, not date, not meet someone. And I've had that problem more online lately too than just in the stores. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I saw that actually. I saw that video that you made, and
oh, it's horrible.
I wanted to ask, but at the same time, I felt like it wasn't my place to ask. Just take the context of your video that someone was doing a very social faux pas and just let you have your space.
Yeah, it was. I got overwhelmed a few weeks ago. If that's what you're talking about, because
this was like months ago, not weeks ago.
Oh, months. Oh, okay, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, the nice guy mentality people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dangerous, and that's the best way to put it. Is dangerous out there sometimes for female gamers, especially those who aren't in relationships, who are there just for the gaming. You become this like target on your back. Like she's good looking, she's not with anybody. That must mean she's here to get something. No, I'm here to kick your butt with some dice and some plastic figures. Let's go.
I'm here to use my legendary creature Bellicor to beat the shit out of your fucking angel army.
Basically, but it's and not like again, it's not for everyone, but you'll get those guys in there that will get very so you want to go out afterwards? No, I plan to go either back to the hotel or I'm going to go back home. Well, you want to get something with me? No, not really. Well, why not? Because I'm not interested. Is it because I'm this? Like, dude, back off. I'm just not interested, period. And it becomes like that whole nice guy, milady fedora wearing mindset stereotype. It's like, okay, now I'm creeped out. Now I'm afraid. And I've actually been attacked at a game store. At Nerdtopia, there was a guy that I ended up working with at the casino who like, oh, she's intelligent, she's in the game, she knows all this stuff. I'm going to pursue her. Oh, you want to go out to lunch? Yeah, we can go get some lunch together, hang out, chat games, whatever. Cool. Within a few weeks of that, he took that as I was now his property.
Yeah.
I was unclaimed. And he had actually at one night we were leaving the shop. He actually came up and grabbed me. It started to pull me towards his car, like, come on, we're going home. I'm not going home with you. What the heck are you talking about? Well, you kind of owe me. How do I owe you anything? Well, I made you an easier time on that game. I'm like, why did you go easy on me in the game? How am I supposed to learn anything? And he kept pulling that stuff, so I ended up not even going back there for a long time because of that. And there are people like that out there. And women know there are guys like that in these events, in these communities. It always puts us on guard. So then we come off as bitchy or we're quiet, maybe don't know anything because we're afraid. If we take too much, we're going to get those kind of guys bombarding us. Or if we try to engage too, we'll get the other way. Well, what do you know? It's such a toxic environment as a whole. Like Adepticon, if you got 500 people playing in that tournament, maybe 10 of them will be women. Because it's such a toxic, hard to deal with situation. Like if I don't go out there and prove myself, oh, of course you didn't win because you're a woman. Or oh, I went easy on you, that's why you won. Like, oh my gosh, people. It's toxic. It's bad.
So for the longest time, and this I did explain it in the video that I made, and I know we're going into more detail here, that I need to reiterate this to my audience because that video got fucking suppressed. Yay, TikTok! I hope the FCC takes you out. Jesus Christ. So, when I heard the argument that there are no women in 40K, I was an avid lore nerd, so I already was like, the fuck are you talking about? And like, there's no women in 40K. And I'm like, no, there's plenty of women in 40K. There's Farseers are majority women in the Eldar army. The Sisters of Battle exist. The Dark Eldar, one of their main characters, although is very sexually depicted. Lilith Hesperex, she is a female character. There's Shadow Sun, who's the hero of the Tau Empire. We have women in 40k. And then that person just blew me off. And I'm like, okay, you didn't have an argument against me, so fuck off. That wasn't what that person was talking about. And if they just said to me, that's not what I'm talking about, it would have changed the dynamic of the conversation. But this, again, this was like early 2010s. People didn't know how to communicate that point properly and accurately. It wasn't until my friend basically said, oh no, that is right. There is little to no women in 40k. And I'm like, I already talked about this in the lore. We're not talking about the lore today, announcer. We're talking about real life. And I'm like, what do you mean? Inside the wargaming, females don't play the game. And I'm like, well, there has to be a reason for that. Like, yeah, there is. It's a toxic and very masculine community that basically sees girls as objects. And at first, this was something where I was like, I don't do that. But she wasn't talking about me. She was talking about the community. And that's something that a lot of guys need to start realizing, is that when girls and trans people and gay people and minorities are talking about it, they're not talking about the individuals. They're talking about the community and how it comes off as a whole. And
exactly,
this is something that, like, even like the Star Trek community, the Star Wars community, Battletech, War Mahords, all that kind of stuff. It's something that people need to get in their heads when you talk about Warhammer and how the community is toxic. You're not pointing to individuals, you're pointing to how the community is coming off. And
exactly. And I can go to certain people and go, that guy's a POS. You know, like the guy that grabbed me, or the person that's been blatantly like that. There are a few I can point out, but I'm not saying every gamer, every guy. No, because yeah, it'd be
And when that was pointed out to me, my entire view slowly started to shift, and that I needed to learn that I'm not the problem, but I perpetuated the problem because I ignored it. Or I downplayed it. And it's not the fact that, like, oh, it happens so rarely. It happened, and we need to make sure it doesn't happen. And I'm very glad recently that now the wargaming community, although it's fucking slow, is that we are seeing a surge of women who are interested or know about Warhammer 40k. My fiance, they play Khorne. They are deep Khorne demon lover all the way through. They love their good boy Scarbrand. They love their good boy the dog. I'm trying to remember its name. I can't right now. My editor, she's playing Drukhari. She's playing the Dark Eldar. And she's like, no, I don't want Lilith Hesperex. Who do you want? I want the homunculi. Why? Because I like the flesh golems, announcer.
Yes, it's squishy.
She hasn't played a game yet, but she's wanting to paint and stuff, which is just as valid.
Oh yeah, and it's the thing about it, like the idea, like, well, I'm not that kind of guy. From my experience, this is firsthand experience, and I know I'm not the only one who's experienced this. When we start to connect, to have that actual decent person, the minute we talk about that, well, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm like, I didn't say you were. And it also comes like that overly defensive, well, I'm not. I'm like, okay, you're getting overly defensive on something I'm trying to be honest with you about. And for me, it raises my defenses up. The minute I get that, well, I'm not like that. And not all guys are like that. I'm like, we're aware.
I can actually explain that. Because I know, like, for a lot of people, including my partner, they were like, why do you get like that? And it's a flinch reaction. And a lot of guys don't mean to actually do it, but we do it. And that when we hear that guys are acting like that, we immediately start thinking worse of ourselves, and we start immediately trying to justify that we aren't that way, even though we know that. We don't need to justify that, but it comes out that way because we feel like we're getting accused. And
Yeah, and I can understand that.
that's something that I actually had to train my brain not to do, is that, like, when a girl is venting their frustration, that, like, men are like this, men are like that, I have to sit there and let my brain go, no. She does not mean us. She is comfortable enough to vent to us about this.
Mm-hmm.
So the context is that she is frustrated with what men as a whole are doing, not you. You are...
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And it's...
Again, it's that knee jerk reaction. Like, side example, when I took those few days off on the hiatus, I was so overwhelmed. I was like, guys, the reason I'm taking a break because I took a few days off for my family. You know this. Quit messaging me. I'm fine. I'm just busy. And people knee jerk, well, if you need someone, I'm here. You have to talk. No, the thing is, I don't want to talk. I just want to be with my family.
I just want to be alone. I want to be alone with my family. I want to be alone with my stuffies. I want to be alone right now. Fuck.
Quit blowing up my DMs. I had like almost 100 people messaging me between TikTok and Instagram and Facebook within that week. I'm like, guys, you literally just y'all the reason why I went on hiatus. But yeah, with the community, it's like, again, if a woman's willing to talk to you about that kind of stuff, she knows you're not one of those people. And it is a condition thing. It's a training thing. Like women, when things start getting violent, we tend to, quiet down, and it's and I agree with you there. Fall is, it is a thing of holding each other accountable. Like, I'm on the other end of that too. Us ladies really need to connect together. Like, I would love, if it wasn't for stupid distance, I would love an all-female troop of Warhammer. Like this group of women that are this big old team that go in and trudge through these tournaments together as a team. I think it'd be phenomenal. I think it'd be great.
That actually would be pretty funny to see.
Oh, I'd love it. I would absolutely
just have the most analytical members of that group make it into like top 8, and then watch as people's brains just fucking melt because they're like, how did this happen? Oh, I don't know. They knew math. They played the same fucking bullshit game that a lot of you competitive players play, where it's like, nuh-uh, that charge doesn't count. You're a half inch off. That's actually so.
Sorry, my brain just went wrong for a minute. I'm like, oh, trust me, it's that many inches. We're good at
that. Oh my god.
I'm not wrong.
You're not. And I have made a few jokes at those players' expenses as well. I'm like, yeah, you would know 2 inches, wouldn't you?
Yeah, people.
Oh my god, the ADHD is strong in us. We're constantly adjusting.
Oh yeah, I'm
Another.
Because I have a little bit of a headache and I'm tired, so I'm even more fidgety. Like, I have half a neck run here, and I'm like, oh shit.
Don't worry, like I said, building rubric terminators. It's.
And thinking about what Mike said here, it's on the ladies too. Because I've been around some of the either are female, identified female that get that very, oh, you don't trust me because I'm a woman? You don't think I can because I'm a woman? We are just as toxic when it comes to that.
Oh, yeah. So.
It is horrible.
I try to make it a rule for me personally, is that I hold both sides accountable.
Oh, yeah.
If a man fucks up in front of me, I cheer them out if a woman fucks up in front of me. I cheer them out if a trans person fucks, so on and so forth. The idea is that I don't want this community to be filled with hate, vitriol, and spite. Even though spite is kind of fun. It is fun to spite people sometimes.
Keep it on the table.
Keep the spite on the table. I spited a few people because just like I played against one person, I lost to them. I'm like, nope, not happening again. And then I spited them by bringing in like 1,000 Sun spam, psychic spam, and just shot them off the table.
And that's where it should be, is on the table. You have a problem with someone, get it out on the dice.
And
take it out.
This is where I criticize. This is where I actually like still criticize back then when it came to like 2010s and shit, 40k infighting, and that the people that were making the argument there's not enough women in 40k were being very, very disingenuous, very, very off-putting, and very, very too self-destructive for their own good. And what I mean by that is that like it was the Tumblr times. This was the time where people, if you didn't side with them on 100% of everything, you were exiled from the island. Fuck you. No one will talk to you. And it was on both sides of the aisle, not just with them. But specifically is that when people tried to actually get an actual legitimate answer out of them, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they just shut you out. They didn't answer. They just locked themselves away in the box and didn't talk. And then they proceed to shit talk you. And then you show everybody how much of a cancerous person they are. They have a meltdown. They leave. And then just bar repeating. And that the answer, as well as they didn't give any solutions to the problem. They were just bitching about it. And it's like, these hobby store owners came out and they're like, okay, what do we need to do to make this place safer for you? You can't do that. What the fuck are you talking about? We can. Just let us know what you want us to do.
Yeah.
And they didn't give an answer. And it was just fucking stupid. And
we want change. What can we do? I don't know.
Pretty much. It's like the people that shrug their arms, nod their heads, and just, yes, bad. Okay, how do we fix? I don't know. Fuck you. And
yeah, and like for me, like it's just, oh my gosh, people.
it's why a lot of people didn't take them seriously, because they just wouldn't give an answer, and it had lasting consequences. It's just like where the amount of people that felt justified in treating women like shit basically just skyrocketed, because it's like, oh, you're probably one of those Tumblr bitches because your hair is blue. And like, you're just going to be a problem for this community. We don't want you here. Even though that girl was like, had no idea what the fuck they're talking about. They're just there to grab a comic book and leave.
Yeah, it's... And like, I'm all for like... What am I trying to say? Words, Zula. Words.
You got this, I believe in you.
Like... there is definitely, a lot of growth that can be done, and it takes a lot of work on both sides. Like, I have a personal problem with ladies that get into the hobbies. Like, I'm very spicy nerd. People who know my stream
trust me, I know you're a spicy person. You've posted some very spicy content. Amazed you haven't opened up an OnlyFans.
Oh yeah. Anyways, okay, squirrel. Back to what I was saying. I have a problem that when that becomes the only thing, like there's a female painter out there that her camera is literally in her cleavage. She doesn't game. She just paints and shows cleavage because honestly, typical guy, pretty.
Pay money for titty. Speaking of, hey guys, donate please. Please donate. I appreciate you. Yes, I have a girl on. I'm not using her for donations. Please donate to me. I'll show you my titties. My titties are just as valid.
There you go.
Sorry, I had to.
Need love.
Sorry, I had to do
that.
That's fine. Just to let you know, context, by the way, My fiance, no one has seen their face for like the past 2 years I've been doing this, and everyone wants to see my fiance's face. So they made a proposition with my Discord and with the rest of my community. If they donate $800 this month, they will do a face reveal, but not just that. They will do a 5-part series with me where they give their genuine human reactions to the Michael Bay Transformers films.
Phenomenal. Oh, if I could right now, I'd be like, here.
It's actually, so I can tell you where our goal is right now. We are at $550. And we're so close. We're just waiting on like probably a good day where we're just like, yes.
November. Yeah, that could be done. And I'm always down for this kind of stuff. Just I'm always home by 4:00 my time. So, no, but like I was saying though, how some of those ladies get. I've seen it way too much now where they're in the genre, they're in the gaming strictly for that kind of attention because it is such a rarity to find women in this world. But it's women like that, like the girl at the other Nerdtopia. Women that do that kind of thing make other women who are genuine and not out there for that. It becomes an expectation of us. Like,
yes,
I run around when I'm on cons. I'm running around in a corset, skipping with heels, squeaking like a maniac, being the hyper Zula self. If you're familiar with Widget from Riot Quest, you can see where it comes from as well. But that doesn't mean I'm here to have my way with all these men, that I am an available object to be touched, to be DM'd, to be, intimate with. It's no.
It's something that's been an active problem in the cosplaying community for a while, is that a lot of cosplayers, both men and women, and have had to put up signs saying, you can take a picture with me, don't fucking touch me.
Oh, I'm a very no touchy person. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but I'm a very introverted person with my traumas. I mean, that's a whole another topic for a whole another interview.
Something about me is that I'm very good at just like reading people from just meeting them, and my immediate, when I first saw your content, I'm like, oh yeah, she shows off, but like it's showing off on a camera. It's not, if I met her in person, they'd probably be like sitting on the couch across from me. And that's, by the way, that's not a bad thing, chat. I want to make that very, very clear. Introverts and extroverts.
Yeah. See, there's a difference between someone who's playing a character, because Zula Mandi is my character. I played off that it's my name because it protects me online, because if people found out my actual name, I've been stalked. I've been hurt. I don't take that risk.
I've been threatened.
It's like when the
I understand.
goggles are on, like before when I originally did Twitch, my goggles were always on. If you look at some of the older videos, older images, you'll see the goggles on. My rule was when the goggles are up, Zula Mandi's there to play. Once the goggles come off, I go back to being more me, which means no, I'm still a very, spicy-minded person in general, but it's not as flamboyant or out there.
Spice comes for fun for you, but when it actually comes to the very intimate and very close spice for you, you'd rather be with someone that you have that attraction to, which is totally understandable. And also, Aramis, thank you for the $20 donation. Appreciate you, bud. Love you, buddy. And by the way, yeah, shirt stays on. There's a good interview going on. You guys don't want to see my man titties? This is bullshit. 0 out of 10. Probably get banned for it on Twitch anyways.
Oh yeah.
Even though, so I do have to bitch about this. Even though we had a girl get fucking railed on stream, and she gets a bad. Don't do it again. And she does it again!
There was when I was, okay. So there was a gal a couple summers ago when I was first streaming. Her name was Pink Sparkles. And she played like 10 minutes of Fortnite and nothing but like barely covering.
I remember that.
And she sits there with a freaking microphone, like with it, going, "I need money to feed these." And she got like 5 PS5. She's giving all this stuff. I'm like, girl, you're making a bad name for us gamers.
At the same time, okay. So personally, I'm split on this, and it's not because I like titty. I'm split on this because one, she's playing up to an audience, and there's two sides to me on this. I'm like, one side, yeah, if you've got the body and you want to rock it, you got all fucking respect to do that, girl. Rock your fucking world. And then, like, the other part of me is like, yeah, but now, like, Pokimane actually made a good argument that, like, since they're doing it, now it's expected of her and others who are more conservative with their bodies. Mm-hmm. They don't want to do it, but now they have freaks in their chat going, "Hey, girl, can you show me some fucking scan?"
Like, when I go online, like, during the summer stuff, yeah, I was pretty, bare minimal for the most part, because when I was comfortable, too, it's my damn house. And it was 110 degrees outside. I'm going to barely wear things. And then, the other side, though, like, a couple times, like, earlier when I was on, I have this on. And the best examples when I was out for MomoCon in Louisiana. Trip between Louisiana and Atlanta. Who the heck is calling me? I'll message him in a minute. I was on my live and I'd been, my button down, stuff like that. I was there in just a t-shirt to sleep in, and he got sort of ripping me apart on TikTok going, "Where's your button down? Excuse me? Where's your button down shirt? You always wear your button down." I'm like, I'm not even home right now, dude. I'm halfway across the country in a hotel. But you didn't bring a button down? No, I actually didn't, dude. And it just was, it was a horrible situation.
Yeah, and...
What?
I only want to see your man titties if you wear cheese pasties. We're not doing that again. We're not doing that again. Oh, fuck. Okay, so I have to explain this one. So, for a little bit there, my chat would pay like $5 for me to slap myself with cheese. And you know me, I'm a desperate whore. I'll do anything for money. I'm a broke-ass college student. Fuck, I'll suck your dick for $5. Anyway. So...
Should be matches on top of where the chips and everything is. On the top, there's like a little white box of matches.
So, it became a meme in my community for a little bit, slapping with cheese. And then, realizing that I was spending more money on buying cheese than I was making money from it, I had to stop it because I was also getting very annoyed with smelling cheese on my face after a stream.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no one lets me live it down. I have been called the whore of my friend group, and I have accepted this place in my life. My audience is my boss. I fucking despise it.
So were you very Gouda at it?
Yes. I was very Gouda at it. My fiance even came in and sprinkled Tex-Mex on my head.
Yeah, Gouda and I don't get along, so, it broke my wrist.
Oof. But yeah,
I can understand feeding into the audience. Like, I've had fun online where I've, painted certain areas for charity, having fun, rolling with it, being on that borderline. For the...
Thank you, Aramis. Again, love you, buddy. We are now up to 580 for the goal. Guess what, guys? Nice. If we just get 220, if someone donates $220, we win the goal. You get what you want.
Oh, if I had it, I'd do it.
I paid $100 for that shower.
Whoa.
You fucking did pay $100 for that cheesy shower, you bitch. I appreciate you very much, All Might. Still, fuck you. I had to vacuum my office for like 2 straight days because of that. Fuck you.
Why am I sitting here thinking, you get some cheese whiz and just from different angles?
We don't. So, another thing is that we don't have that kind of cheese here. We don't have aerosol cheese. Welcome to Canada. We're healthy.
Since I'm just for that.
But yeah, back onto the topic of what we were talking about.
Yeah. Let's step back away from the cheese for a minute. It's getting a little moldy there.
It's
Okay,
getting a little
anyways.
moldy. So with the wargaming and tabletop community in general, um, I was actually shocked about what my friends that are the female found interesting about these games. My editor, she's like, "Oh no, I just love the art. I love the aesthetic. Like that's the reason I love this army." And then my fiance, she plays BattleTech as well. Her favorite mechs are light mechs, and she actually stated to me that like, no, I prefer BattleTech over Warhammer. And I'm like, what the fuck? BattleTech is a lot more like niche. What's got you into this one? And they told me it's a lot easier to understand. The math makes sense, and I can kick your ass in it. By the way, that is true. By the way, she got two headshots in the game and insta killed two of my mechs. That's like a 1 in 600 chance.
It's amazing.
It truly is. But people get into the hobbies for very different reasons, and whether it be through art, whether it be through a love and passion of the game, or because you read that orcs literally make things happen because they believe it to happen.
Yeah, red can go faster.
40K. The reason why I want 40K to be a space that like lets everybody in is that, well, I shouldn't say let everybody in. We let in people. We let in the good people, not the intolerant people. And the reason why I personally want that, and something that I've been trying to do, is that I've been trying to get more female representation or more representation from the LGBTQIA plus community to come on and talk to me. Is that I want to know those experiences and I want to understand where these people are, what they want, what they think they can do, what we can do to improve the community, and I want to hear them out. And
yeah,
it's been frustrating, and not because like they're dodging me or they're like, oh no, he's disingenuous as fuck. It can be part of those reasons, and I don't blame them for that. They've been flamed plenty of times in the past. Understandable. Other reasons is just like, oh, you're trying to use this to hit on me? No, I have a fiance. What the fuck?
Although I can see where people would get that idea.
Yeah.
I've been hitting my DMs with guys like that. Hey, so you do painting? Yeah, play Warhammer. Yeah. Hey, you want to go for a date? What? How about I come over? We'll play some games together. Back off, dude.
And
so because guys have done it, a lot of people get, defensive, which is horrible.
And it plus like time zones, everything where I live is very frustrating because Mountain Standard Time sucks. Like I'm 2 hours ahead of everybody. I'm 2 hours behind everybody.
I get it. Most of my friends are over on the East Coast or on the other side of the country or the other side of the world. Like when I used to stream late night, I'd be on till like 1 a.m. my time. People in the UK are barely waking up. Hey, good morning, Zula. Hi, I'm going to bed soon.
Hi, you want to play some Dark Tide? Oh, I can't. Why? It's literally 3 a.m.
Right. Right. But yeah, no, I can definitely say, like, my opinion is it needs to be talked about. It needs to be brought to light how bad it can be. With the, treading on ice here a little bit with the idea, like, look, we're not saying all guys are like this. We're not saying that all women are like this. This isn't a every single person thing. This is the high percentage of, and that's something that a lot of people need to get through, because people will be very, very quick, like we talked about earlier. Well, these guys that they try to do these things, oh, that's not me. It's like, but majority. Like when I was on TikTok, I mentioned it yesterday. Like the guy got on me like, "Oh, you're trying to make fun of people that are like, the neckbeards, calling everyone neckbeards." I'm like, no, 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 no. Do not misunderstand me. Now there is a stereotype there, and we all know that stereotype. But I don't see all gamer guys like that. I mean, come on, look at Henry Cavill. He almost missed the chance of being Superman because he was rating in WoW. you know, it, not all gamer guys are the same. You know, but I want to see a safe pace. I want to see it equality. I don't want there to be. If you're gonna go play on a table against someone, I want you to be more focused on what the heck army and what's in their army than what gender they are, than what their preferences are, what their pronouns are. Worry about the damn thing on the game.
Yeah, and this is something that I like to point out is that it doesn't matter if you are a female or a male or what the fuck ever. It's all based on skill and intellect and luck of the die. Because 40k at the end of the day is a luck-based game. I've had games where I've slaughtered my enemies and triumphed with a banner of Zinch plunged straight into my opponent's asshole with Magnus the Red standing triumphant over them. And I've had games where I've seen my entire Space Marine chapter get fucking decimated. Where, like, my dice decide that, you know what? Everybody's tired today. The armor's shit. Nah, bitch. You don't hit, you don't save. It happens. And
anyone who's played D&D knows.
Yeah, I've thankfully never lost a character. I've never had a character die. Because I have some extraordinary luck behind me. I've been close to death, but I have not died. But
I just want a safe space. I mean, I don't like when people hate on and judge others based on certain qualities of them. I'm also not huge, and this is probably going to be where I'm going to get yelled at or whatever. I'm also not a big fan of somebody sitting there using their pronouns or using who they are as a ploy. Like, I don't ever want to be the person out there. It's like, hey, I'm Zula Mandi. Let's roll some dice. I'm not going to be there. I'm Zula Mandi, a single female gamer. Let's go, boys. I hate when people add that connotation, no matter what it is. It bugs me.
No, that does bug me too, because you're not helping the glass ceiling. You're making it like you are the exception to the rule. And you know what's actually fucked up? The last place I thought I'd hear this argument from was fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, but Sonic the fucking Hedgehog made it. Yeah, so context to this is Sonic Boom. It's a cartoon, and the character Amy Rose is written to be like this really smart, but kind of she's overbearing a little bit, and she's playing soccer, and she's like making the commentary that Amy, first girl on the soccer team, is about to score a goal, and Knuckles the fucking echidna chimes in saying, you know, Amy, by saying what you just said, you make it sound like that women can't do this and that you are an exception to the rule, even though this is as normal as the status quo.
Exactly.
And everybody's like, what the fuck? And he's like, hey, I'm a dunderhead, but I'm also a feminist.
Again, I'm not meaning this in any, because I don't care who you are, what you get off with, what you want to do, who you want it. I don't care. Treat everyone with respect as humans, as people.
Damn right.
But I have a big stink when I have some of my friends push out there, oh, I'm so-and-so, I'm a trans gamer, I'm a trans paint. What does it matter? If you're a painter, you're a painter. You're a gamer, you're a gamer. The pronouns and identifiers shouldn't make a difference. The dice don't know the difference.
I totally understand where you're coming from on this. It's the idea that it doesn't matter who you are. It matters about how you act and what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
What's on your chest and in your pants is inconsequential to the game. Just because I have a tiny penis does not mean that I am bad at game. I am very good at game. I learn game. I play Thousand Suns. I cheat my way to victory. But
And that's my whole thing. Like I said, I think, I understood when it was trying to, make people feel good, feel safe, but I feel that it's starting to go overboard. Like, like I said, I'm going to end up getting myself burned on this one bad, but it makes me more uncomfortable when people are out there making that a big deal.
that I'm a
Just,
woman in this space and that kind of
Mhm.
shit. No, that's how. This is something where like I do very much agree with you that like these people, they're trying to just do it to gain attention, but they're actually harming themselves. And not in a way like. By the way, guys, I need to explain this very clearly. When you go to a room, and someone screams out, and I'm gonna use men as an example here. I'm a straight white guy, and I'm about to prove that these bitches don't know what they're talking about. How does that come off?
you get lit in most people. You'd be, oh my gosh.
Exactly. So now, apply that logic to someone that comes in and does the same thing. Everybody treats them like they're a fucking jackass. And
Yeah. It's not a power, it's not a strength.
it's not a
A
power
show of
move.
strength. No.
It's frustrating, to say the least. And when people are like, you need to shut the fuck up, they're not saying it like out of malice or like out of an intent to harm. They're saying it because that doesn't matter here and it shouldn't matter here.
Yeah. It doesn't make you a better gamer. It doesn't make you less of a gamer. You're just adding in descriptive. Like I said, if you look at anything of mine, for Zula Mandi, a fun, spicy nerd. A tinkerer wandering through these multiple of games and all the hobbies and things. People don't realize I'm female half the time if they don't see my face or hear my voice.
Hello, tiny human.
And I like that.
Hello, tiny
Oh,
human.
yeah,
Bye, tiny human.
yep, that's Tyrant.
Is that your boy or is that your roommate's
For me,
boy?
both.
Ah,
um,
it's
but it
your
just,
boy.
it makes it feel okay. Wording carefully and cautiously here again, guys. Try to see outside a little bit here. As a woman in gaming or in tabletop gaming in the 40K world of gaming, as well as being an artist and a painter, hobbyist, all these things. When I go to an event and there's somebody there that's like, oh, this is going to be risky. I'm a trans woman. All of a sudden, to me, I feel like, so I'm a piece of shit now because I'm not some weird variant of woman. It's just kind of like, oh, well, I'm trans woman. I'm better than the woman gamer. No, we're both ladies here. What does it matter? It's just something about that tonage and that demeanor about it. Just like, hey, can we all just game?
Yeah, and this
It
is
just really sets me off.
it's part of the problem is that these people, some of them have good intentions. Some of them have very good intentions. They want to represent their group. They want to say like, no, I'm not this stereotype. I'm not going to be what you think I am. And then they end up being what people think they are because they're making an ass out of themselves. Even though the most, I need to say this out loud, everybody, so everybody understands this. The most powerful message that you can go in to any tournament is that you don't say anything. You let your skill speak for itself. A Sonic Fox for the fighting community. Everybody lambasted this boy because he's black, he's gay, he's a furry. He never said anything of that. He let his skill speak for itself. You know who the number one fighting game person is right now? It's not anyone else. It's fucking Sonic Fox. He doesn't. The fucker wears a Sonic hat while he's playing a fighting game and stares you dead in the eye and says, I'm about to fist you so fucking hard, the furry community is going to have a field day with this.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't bring up the fact he's a furry. Yeah, he's a furry. Who gives a shit? It doesn't add anything to his fighting ability. It's just a hobby for him. He's into men. Who gives a shit? He likes hot dogs just as much as he likes pussy. Who fuck cares? It's his life, his business. Guy's black. What the fuck does that have to do with his fighting game ability?
Exactly.
Guy is a based motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's what gets me. It's like it shouldn't be down to do I feel like representation across the board should be there? Yes, if you're trying to make people feel included. But at the same time, it doesn't need to be the forefront center of everything. Like I would never be a part of the furry community. It is not a hobby for me. But no, I look at the stuff they make like, woo, that's some skill. That's beautiful. I see the art. I see the color combinations, the workmanship of the cosplay, things like that. I don't have to be a part of it to enjoy and respect it.
Exactly.
And like I had a person. This is a different hobby I have. My other hobby I do is medieval fighting, SCA. There was a person there who was male to female, and they would abuse it. Like this person would be very, very, hey, I'm attracted to you, I want you. Well, I'm not interested. Oh, it's because I'm trans? No, I'm one, I'm not attracted to blondes. Two, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm happy right now. It has nothing to do with anything else. I'm just not attracted to you.
And
Or because of it. No, it has nothing to do with that. I just don't like you and you're an asshole.
that is a whole different problem with the LGBTQIA plus community. But hi, hello.
I'm cold.
Dinner is in the fridge.
Thank you.
I have made sketty. Also, say hi. This is Zula.
Hello, Zula.
This is my fiance. This is my little corn lover.
I'm
and
cold.
the person that headshotted 2 of my mechs. Yeah, I told that story.
Not 2 of them. I headshotted the same mech twice.
All right, my bad.
In a row.
By the way, the chances of that, I remember you calculated the chances of that.
1 in 687.
I was close. I said 1 in 600.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Battletech is fun. Anyway, we need to play that again.
Yes, we do.
I had the box right up there.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, but yeah, that's a more general problem. But back to the more problematic elements of our tabletop community. So something that did happen last year, and I was actually fairly proud of our community for this, is did you hear what happened in Spain? If you don't know, you'll probably catch on real quick, but if you don't know, so 40K tournament, big tournament in Spain. People from all over the world go there. One of the players was a Nazi. And now you know.
Yeah. Yep.
So this was something that I was actually fairly took pride in with our community, is that everybody decided, nope, we're not going to play you. Fuck you. And yes, this guy pulled the skeevy things like, oh, if you kick me out, I'll just call the police. And Spain is stupid, by the way. Hey, with like its laws on people like him. But when it came down to it, that guy, by the way, he placed like dead last, because when you're playing 40K, it's not a game of like how many wins you have. It's about how many points you have, and a win gets you like an extra 1,000 points. If he's playing a game and it goes null, like your opponent decided not to play you, he gets only 500 points in a 6-game tournament.
Oh.
And so if you're only getting 3,000 points, That's the equivalent of winning 3 games, but that's also the equivalent of losing 3 games. So he basically finished middle of the pack. He's not important. And that was something that the 40k community basically like the screechers screeched, are like, you can't, fuck you guys, you're a bunch of pussies for not fighting him. He's allowed his political beliefs. And the rest of the community went, shut the fuck up. Why? Because you are supporting Hitler. And we do not tolerate that shit here. And it's, this is where you can find out where people don't understand Warhammer.
Yeah.
Both, like, in the lore, at least. In that a lot of people, when I told them, like, my codex is, the books that I read, I have to treat them like they're propaganda. And they're like, what? What do you mean? Allow me to explain. Whenever I read a Space Marine Codex, it always describes the Space Marines as heroes of the Imperium, defenders of mankind. The Ultramarines are heroes to the people of Ultramar and McCrag. And then you read the books and you realize, oh fuck, these are sociopathic killing machines that are brainwashed child super soldiers. They are Captain America on fucking steroids. These are written, and by the way, this is written from a guardsman's perspective. They're terrifying. And when you read the Horus Heresy novels, you get the full brunt of those kinds of mentality. Is that, like, they're mortals. Yeah, they are. What about them? They shouldn't have a right to speak in front of me. Why? Because I can snap his neck with but a slap of my hand. He is technically our superior. I don't give a shit. He shouldn't talk to me that way.
I lost a piece of my neck on.
Oh no. Hey, do you have carpet in that office?
Uh-huh.
No!
Yeah, it's either my chair ate it or my carpet did.
It's probably both.
Probably. They're probably working with each other.
My friend was building a Belisarius Call when I was living with my parents at my parents' place, and we had a carpet in our basement. Did you know that Call has a cane on his model? Yeah, he's got like a little cane. It's cute. Anyway, he dropped it in the carpet.
Oh god.
And it was a thin piece too.
I know, I felt it. Where'd it go? Where are you? See, no matter who you are, what you prefer, you're still gonna lose pieces to the carpet.
Yes, I do not know how many pieces have been lost to this carpet, and I've only been living here a few months.
Oh,
Half a year now, but...
Yeah, it's the... I've been here for 6 years. I've only been doing this for 2, and I'm like, when they go to clean this carpet, they're gonna find Necron heads everywhere.
Ah, yes. Where did this come from in the wall? I don't know. I think that's a model called Trezon the Infinite. How did it get in the wall? But yeah. But...
I'm still here, I'm just...
No, don't worry about it. I'll talk a little bit more. But yeah, when it comes to the lore of the Imperium and like lore for anything else, people have to remember that this is propaganda for their army. And that this is something that GW themselves have expressed like regret in, is that they've written it too well in a lot of aspects, is that like they haven't really talked about the grim darkness much, and that they've tried to make Space Marines into Superman or Captain America. Like, they are heroes. They are the good guys of 40k, even though when you read the books, they really fucking aren't.
Yeah, you know, the whole idea of, you know, history's written on who the winner was. That whole concept kind of applies to them. We're the heroes because we won.
Like Dark Imperium, the book, and by the way, spoilers for the book, by the way. There's a scene in the book where Marnius Calgar, chapter master of the Ultramarines, the guy whose dick is jerked off from 5th to 6th edition, he is looking at a crowd of boys and men who have been tricked by the Death Guard into rebelling. And he makes a point that, yes, the men will have to be executed. The boys we can just send to the reindoctrination camps.
Oh.
And I'm like, I sat there listening to that, and I'm like, holy fuck, Calgar. Just fucking saying it. And by the way, he's not saying it in a malicious intent. He's saying it in a regretful intent that he doesn't want to do it, but he has to. And not like the, oh, I'm so sad I have to do this to you. It's, fuck, I gotta do this again? Fuck. It's disinterest in doing it. Because he's had to do it so much. And that's fucked up to hear. And like, I defend Gullyman. I defend my boy. But even then, I have to look at my boy and go, you know, Rome was kind of fascist, not gonna lie. Ha ha! I don't know what model you're building specifically. I just know you're building an Necron.
It is the Kempotech, the crooked.
Ah, yes. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So actually,
Somewhere around here, I got this Slanesh that looks like Rita Repulsive from Power Rangers.
oh, sick. But I do actually want to ask you this question. What do you know about 40k lore? And no, I'm not going to purity test you, by the way.
Yeah, honestly, I know very little overall, mainly because it just got so overboard. Like, I know hints and minuscule things based on kind of as I'm building a model, but I've not sat back and delved fully into it until I'm ready to actually start throwing dice with a lot of it.
So,
like, it's like, I know more about her city.
That's fair. If you are interested in the lore, there is a guy that I talked about earlier on the stream, Arbitrator Ian. And he is actually a fairly good lore channel for those who want to, like, jump on into the lore for Warhammer. And
his name sounds familiar.
He is a relatively new Wargaming channel. Part of the reason why he made his channel is because he wants to be a counter to people like Arch Warhammer, that fucking fascist, and that he wants to have a place where, like, he can discuss not just the lore of the game, but the hobby itself, and like what you can do to, like, how to properly do WYSIWYG for your army, like what you see is what you get, that kind of stuff. Or like talk about Horus Heresy, because he really likes Horus Heresy. And when it comes to lore for people, especially, I've gotten this question many times from every side of which way, and they're like, oh, so like if I want to get into the game, what should I do? And my rule is the rule of cool. What gets your eye? What is the attractive thing to you? What makes you look at that and says, yeah, no, I'd fuck with that. Yeah, no, I'd do that. What makes your attraction meter go off? What makes you say, like, oh yeah, I'd like to sweep this person off their feet, take them out for a nice dinner on the town, get to know them a little bit better? The army that looks good to you, look at it. And then if you like that army and what they do, try it out. Do not go overboard. Do not buy 700 armies at once. You will burn yourself out.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I request a hug.
You request a hug?
I request a hug.
You request a hug? 1 sec, I have to hug.
Things.
I can kisses and hugs. Be jealous of me, motherfuckers. I get kisses and hugs. Anyway. When it comes to, like, picking the lore in the faction, is that, like, if you like an army and how it looks, you are most likely going to like the lore behind them. Like, Necrons. Someone asked me about Necrons, I just said, summing them up, they're, robot zombies. Zombies, basically.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, shit, really? And I'm like, yeah, but, like, their leaders are, like, still sentient in that way, and, like, they control, like, armies of soul-infused automata. And they're like, oh, sick, I gotta look into this. And then, what do you know? My roommate is now downstairs with Necrons. Or, my other friend, he picked up Mechanicus because, as he put it, I like steampunk, I like, people augmenting their bodies with mechanical shit. Here we are.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, when I first, so my first, like, jump 20 years when I first saw things on the table to getting into it. I got into it by chance at first because my old friend got me in the Riot Quest, got me into War Machine, which the rest is history on that. But I got randomly rolled from an online streaming friend for a little friendly competitiveness. We had to pick it was a faction, a theme, and an environment. And so I randomly rolled Night Haunts in space with the theme of greed. So I go from big old chunky warjacks to spirit hosts of Night Haunts. That was some hard lessons learned with glue.
Oh, yeah. That's why I stick to bulky units.
I was happy with it because I like spooky, scary stuff. I love the paranormal. I love that genre. So I was messing with that, and that's when I first saw the Necrons. I'm like, ooh, they remind me of a very Egyptian-y vibe. They had kind of that alienness to them. You know, I start hearing about the resurrection orbs. I'm like, oh, I like these guys. Plus, it's green. I love green. So
fellow green lover, fuck yes. Best friend forever now.
And the first image I saw was that whole spread when we had the Necrons with the Silent King back there, and the Tesseract book with the Satan all like in it. I was hooked, like to the point where I have it as a tattoo.
Yeah.
And it's funny story. So when I first I got all the big chunk of the army, took it to Vegas with me because I had to go work in Vegas. And while I was out there, that's where I got my Necron tattoo, which I felt was appropriate, especially after seeing the Luxor in green. The joke for a while is that I made some kind of pact with the Necron lords out there and came back with this and unlimited power. That we won't discuss that too deeply. But it's become a part of me. Like even now, like my glow effects, the stuff I do, the way they gain, I love them. They work for me. Now on my shelf, I've got yeah, I got a lot.
Too many boxes.
Yeah, a lot. But for me, they've just always been my go-to. And then I found out about the flayed ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had me hooked.
So, actually, if you are wanting to get into 40k lore a bit, Necrons do have 3 books now. And the best book, I think, would be best for you, if you want to hear my recommendation. You do not have to follow it, by the way. Is The Infinite and the Divine. And it comes in audiobook format, so you can listen to it while you're building. And basically, the book focuses around the rivalry between Trazon the Infinite and Oricon the Diviner. And it's a whole book of these two people where you're like, just fuck already! With how much they fuck each other over. Like, in the lore, Oricon the Diviner, he's basically like, I predict the future based off the stars. And he's like, my accuracy of my predictions is 100%. I have never been wrong before. Hey, Oricon, you remember that thing where you said that star was going to blow up? Yes, it's still there. One moment, as he walks into the back room, grabs his fucking time machine, goes back in time, and sets events for that sun to blow up. Then comes back and says, see, it blew up. I was right. I was right all along.
God, that's great.
And,
yeah, I think I'd probably enjoy that.
And Trazon the Infinite, he is the peak troll of Warhammer 40,000. He is the British Museum of Warhammer. His entire ship in the lore of Warhammer is that it's a massive museum of everything this guy has collected over the years.
Is he
Yes, they're both characters in that book. They're both playable characters. They're in the HQ sections.
Okay, let's see. I'm like, wait, I know these names. Like, I know these models. I have these. I'm pretty sure I have these.
Actually, GW released a animation for Trazon the Infinite where 5 Chaos Terminators are making a break for like this Tesseract cube or whatever the fuck. It's an artifact in his museum. And they're like, the champion is so close to grabbing it and he's frozen in time. And like, he can still see what's going on. He can still hear what's going on. It's just his body is frozen. And Barry went under a mountain for thousands. Yeah, Trazon the Infinite and Oricon the Diviner are characters that you can play in Warhammer.
These guys.
They are...
Somewhere.
They're fun. They're interesting. And Trazon comes out, and he's like, you know how many times you've done this? I've lost count. But I'm going to keep making you think that you're going to win. And I'm always just going to snatch that little glory of victory for you. Because it's just that sweet to me. And then he resets them to do it over and over and over again. This is also the same guy who has a Tyranid Biotitan in his main hall, just sitting there. He has Castellan Creed, the Cadian 7th, the Marshal of Cadia himself, frozen in stasis. He has a clone of Fulgrim, frozen in stasis. He has a Custodes, frozen in stasis. He has entire armies frozen in stasis, recreating battles that he wants to just have. He's the sub. He is just the troll of 40k. Hey, he literally shows up during like the events from transferring from 7th to 8th edition, walks up to Belisarius' call, staff in hand. He's like, hey, so I heard that you guys are struggling out here. Guess what, motherfucker? I just gave you a few extra soldiers. Why are you doing this? Reasons. And he just... He actually...
Oh, God, no.
He actually did it so that way he could capture Castellan Creed.
I see why Necron's called to me then.
They're a very interesting faction. And then there's one who actually has Alzheimer's. He's actually also a playable character. And he is hilarious. When he was turned into a Necron, he was suffering from Alzheimer's, basically. And that condition kept him in that space where, like, he'll see, like, he'll fight a battle in 40k, he'll be fighting a Space Marine, and then all of a sudden, his brain just goes, ha ha, I'm still made of Swiss cheese. And then switch back to, like, men, charge that solar farm over there, even though it's just a tree. And then the Necrons are like, just keep swinging, just ignore them. And it's so fucked up because in his lore, if you read his book, like if you read like the codexes with him in it, He has dinners with people, seeing them as like, no, the High King of sect, whatever the fuck. It's such an honor having you here. And it's some poor fucking civilian just sitting there like, and then he's just wandering around his ship. And he's like, where did my guest go? I have to make sure they're okay. And the Lich Guard just stand there and like grab him and it's like, no, don't worry. He said he had to go home, even though they launched the fucker out the airlock.
Oh, that's hilarious. Like what I liked about them too, because like I'm no surprise here, a very dark, twisted-minded individual. So when I first heard what they do to the Satans for power, I'm like, like I love Silent King for that reason. The way they're just like,
So the most interesting thing about the Necron lore is that they are the oldest faction in Warhammer 40,000, like even older than Chaos.
That's what I heard, yeah.
So, would you like me to tell you about their lore? I can actually make this very bite-sized for you.
Yeah, go ahead. You got my attention on it, so.
So the Necrons, they were originally known as the Necron tier. And essentially, they drew the short end of the fucking stick when it came to, like, planets you could evolve on. And the planet they evolved on, the sun was basically baking their planet. And not just like, oh, it's really fucking hot, they're like Mercury. No, they're about the same distance from their sun as we are from ours. But the problem was that their sun was just radiating so much radiation that it fucked with them. And their life expectancy was like, you won't live past 25. Kind of a thing. And they, their whole culture became around death. They basically lived in massive tomb complexes underneath the planet's soil. And they're like, okay, maybe if we just, like, develop space technology and colonize different worlds away from our sun, we can fix this. No, the damage is so ingrained in their DNA, they're fucked like that for the rest of their lives. So they have to, like, artificially try to extend their life. And then they encounter the old men of 40k, the old ones, which basically can be described as floating lizards. And when they met these guys, they're like, oh my god, these guys, they can manipulate life. They can change things. If we ask them nicely, maybe they can fix us. Maybe we can become the bestest of best friends. That kind of thing. We finally found the cure, people! And then you cut to the old ones going, no. Why not? We do not mess with the natural order of life and things. It is against our way of doing things. You literally just created life over there! Yes, but that was a backwater planet. No one cares about it. You just did a thing! Who are you again?
Yeah. That's hilarious.
And so the Necron tier basically said, we're going to war over this! You are tiny, dying cancer patients, and we are like godlike beings. You will not win this war. Cut 2 wars later, Necron tier are getting their asses kicked. And then they find out why their sun is fucking up. So, you remember the Catan? Like those shards and shit? They were balls of space gas.
Yeah, I remember they were like stars.
They ate stars.
Oh, okay.
They're basically... Oh, Gamble. Hey, thank you for the raid. Love you. Raid! But yeah, so basically, they find out that this ball of space gas is sentient to a degree. It's eating the sun. And they're like, no, that's what's been fucking up our sun for the longest time. Oh my god. Oh, it's the screamer. It's the screamer. But yeah, so they're like, so they do what any species would do, and like, put this thing in a container made of living metal, because why the fuck not? And then just keep stuff in that container till it's full. And then the first Catan was born. And it was it dubbed itself the Deceiver. Because, you know, that's a good sign when the first god you accidentally make calls itself the fucking Deceiver. Yes. The one that's pointing is the Deceiver. Yeah, he was the first one.
Danger boot.
Danger boot. And so the Deceiver, along with the Necron tier, continue to just make more Catan shards. And the Deceiver then goes to the Silent King and says, hey, I know you're still at war with the old ones. I don't particularly like them either. So how about this? I have the power to fix your species' problem. And the Silent King is like, yes, fucking anything to get rid of this. Anything. I will do anything. Cool. Snaps his fingers. All of his subjects are encased in living metal, including himself. And, like, they're all think. Yeah, so, like, they're all turned into the Necrons. And the Silent King's like, this is great. All my people have finally escaped the ever-looming shadow of death. Why are my subjects all mindless automatons? Oh, they're all mindless automatons now. It's met with immediate regret. And the Catan did keep their word. They did kick the shit out of the old ones. Problem. The old ones were so fucked up from that fight, they then, inadvertently, because they were getting their asses kicked and they were desperate enough, they made the orcs.
Oh.
The Necrons are responsible for the orcs' existence. And so, when the Necrons started losing the war, the Silent King basically started tricking the other Catan shards into eating each other, kind of a thing. And when they were all weak enough, he basically shattered all of them. Because, and the Deceiver's mistake is that he made the Silent King too powerful. And the Silent King was like, nope, shattering all of you sick fuckers. And you are enslaved to us now instead of the other way around. And the Silent King then made the hard decision of, okay, galaxy's fucked up. We can't do anything about this. All of you, go rest in your tomb chambers. I'm gonna go on a soul-searching quest for like the next 10 million years. And then 10 million years pass. Welcome to 40K. And Necrons are introduced through Sanctuary 351. Where Sisters of Battle pop up on a planet. They're like, yeah! And then a bunch of miners showed up on the planet. They're like, yeah! And then they wake up the Necron tomb and they go, oh, fuck! And then get annihilated.
That sounds right. That's pretty... Damn. Weren't the Skaven made out of, like, digging through somebody's tomb or something, too?
Skaven?
I might be thinking different lore.
You were thinking of Age of Sigmar.
Okay, yeah, I still get some of those confused sometimes.
Yeah, no, Skaven are fantasy only.
Okay.
Though understandable is that, like, people, they're both called Warhammer. Shit happens. But yeah, that's the next.
Sigmar one's called fantasy.
Yeah, it was called fantasy. So, actually, the history on this is pretty fascinating. So the reason why things changed was that Warhammer Fantasy was the true culprit of rules bloat. There were armies that were still in 3rd edition. Like, they still only had their 3rd edition book when they were all the way in 7th edition for Warhammer Fantasy. Poor Bretonians. Anyway, so what ended up happening was that GW just decided to say, fuck it! Reboot the universe, fuck all your characters, fuck all your armies, we're rebooting this shit. And everyone was like, yay, finally, a fresh start, fuck yeah, dude. And then they revealed AOS, Age of Sigmar. And it was met with hostility, because why do they have round bases now? Why aren't they moving in formations? What the fuck is happening? And GW said, we want fantasy to succeed again, and we want the game to be fun. So we made it a lot more simple and a lot more interesting, but they also broke the fucking game in half. It was actually more advantageous to bring an army of one than bring a standard army. It was just that bad, and people weren't playing AOS. And then AOS 2nd Edition dropped, and it fixed all the problems that everyone had with it.
Like I said, for me, it's like there's just so much to this game, the world and stuff. That's what I love. It just gets there's a lot to follow.
It is a lot, and I have the hindsight of doing this since I was 12. I'm 24 now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I had gotten into it and not pushed aside, 20 years ago, I would probably be a walking encyclopedia of these guys by now.
I basically am, and I hate it. It's been pretty interesting being like this walking, talking lexicon of information, because it's not just with 40K. It's like with Halo. It's with BattleTech to a degree. It's so many other games and such, and that my brain just kind of like wants all of the fun knowledge. It was a problem for me in school.
I get that one. My brain's a constant, useless trivia for Disney, unless there's like a contest going on or something.
You'd probably kick my ass in the Disney competition, not gonna lie.
Come on, get on your back. My little quasi-necron. Oh.
But yeah, question, how much time do you have, by the way?
I'm pretty good. I mean, I probably should pop off soon to like the nom-noms.
That's fair. How about I don't know if anyone's going to want to ask questions. We can ask them as they come along then.
I'm good for a little bit. Let me step out though for a minute, make sure the tyrant is not destroying my living room.
No problem.
And we can definitely continue on. I'm good. So.
Alrighty.
Alright, be right back.
So guys, if you have questions, just ask them away in chat, and I will happily ask her those questions for you. And please don't forget to donate. We now only need $220 to reach our goal. Beyonce face reveal. Hell yeah, baby. So do not feel the worry, do not feel the shame. Please ask any questions. It can be about her experiences in the community. It could be about personal questions that you have about the problems in the wargaming community. Whatever you want to ask, go ahead and ask them, as long as they are appropriate and on task. You can even ask questions of me. But you really should be asking her. She's much more interesting than I am. Please, God. Dude, she's got like nurgling in the background. It's sick. Sick as fuck. Come on, boys, girls, non-binary pals, ask the questions. Please, God. Please do the questions. I appreciate you. I'll give you kisses. I'll give you the kisses. The biggest of kisses. Tonclex, no, he does not have Alfarius. Alfarius is dead. Sorry to burst your bubble. Alfarius is very fucking dead. He died in Praetorian of Dorne, the Horus Heresy book. He died in a battle between him and Dorne. Went out like a bitch. Anyway. Yeah, no, the person that is alive is Omegon, who has taken on the Alfarius name. So no, Trazon does not have Alfarius. It's impossible because he's fucking dead. And Trazon wasn't active. Alfarius will bless your dreams. You need to... No. 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 No! Fuck, where'd that go? Shit! Oh, fuck. Oh, that was in my fingies too, dude. Oh, there it is. Whew. Whew. Situation salvaged. Hat model, what model? I'm building rubric terminators. They are they're one of the most broken models in 40k right now. If you want to talk competitively. The reason why is that Thousand Suns in Warhammer have an ability called All is Dust. All is Dust is that it takes any weapon that is damage 1 and adds 1 to my save. So, for those keeping track with a 6-sided die, a Rubric Terminator has a 2+ save. Now, you always fail on a 1. But that's not the point. The point is that your enemy armor penetration also has problems. So, if I have a +1 to my... If I have a +1 to my save and my opponent's armor penetration is AP 1, I'm still at a 2+ save because my +1 negates their negative. Now, another problem is that Space Marines got Armor of Contempt, which basically reduces all AP weapons by 1. So if you have a weapon that's AP 1, goes to 0. If you have a weapon that's AP 2, goes to 1. Continue onward. So imagine this. I am a Rubric Terminator. You are firing a Strength 5 AP 2 Damage 1 weapon. I get +1 to my armor save because I'm all as dust. I get to -1 to your AP, which is Armor of Contempt. Essentially, I get to keep my 2+ save. And then, if you are playing with command points, The Thousand Suns have a special ability where they can reduce damage by 1. So if you're hitting me with a damage 2 weapon, 3 command points for a squad of 10 Terminators, I make your damage 2 weapon go to damage 1. And I repeat process all over again. Rubric Terminators are one of the best objective holders in 40k right now. If you are playing a Thousand Suns list, you are taking like 3 squads of 10, and you just watch as your opponent cries because you just plant these fuckers on objectives with Cult of Time, which just brings back models. Or heals units up because they're stupid. Or you're just drowning your opponents in shots because as I get to shoot maximum shots for a squad of 10, which gets 4 shots each. That's 40 bolter shots going at you with a psychic spell on top of that. Rubric Terminators, I love them, but I hate how broken they've become. And it's the only reason people are playing Thousand Suns now, because Terminators are stupid. And people are like, well, Armor of Contempt specifically says that if it makes the AP worse, like if you already have an ability that makes AP worse, Armor of Contempt doesn't proc. Problem. All is Dust does not make your AP worse. It makes my save better. So it stacks. That's where people like get confused, but then I have to correct them because like no, I'm not making your AP worse from All is Dust. I'm making my save better because your damage sucks. When it comes to Thousand Suns Terminators, the best strategy for killing them, drown them in shots. Don't fire weapons that are high damage, just drown them.
Food.
You have food? Chat, she has returned with food.
I warmed up food. Hold on. Don't drop the stuff.
I made sketty.
Warmed up food for the little one. I'm like, I am hungry.
I made sketty tonight.
Nom nom nom.
It was good.
And I just got gifted from my bestie. I have glass files.
Ooh.
Like for modeling glass files.
Hell yeah. Yeah, sorry, I was just telling Chad about like the models that I was building.
Oh, nice. Noise.
Rubric Terminators are stupid. Talking about those things from Jurassic Park.
Rar.
But yeah, one of the when it came to like my first 40k army, I was in love with Space Marines, but when I expanded my horizons, I really gravitated to the Thousand Suns. And people were like,
Yep.
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
I said they're pretty.
Oh, they are very pretty, but their lore is tragic as fuck. They are the saddest of boys.
Are the most beautiful things you could come with a tragic backstory?
Yeah, pretty much. They're so the funniest thing is that they're for the longest time their main character, their rep in the Forces of Chaos is Ahriman. And this fucker, when you read him in the Horus Heresy, when you read his backstory, he is the saddest little bastard. He is he's recruited from Terra, like he's recruited from Earth back in like 30k. He is the last to be recruited from Earth, and he has a twin brother. And the problem with the Thousand Suns is that they're all magic users. They're all psychically gifted in like some degree or other. And they have a bad habit of going spawn, which is basically like there's so much magic flowing through their veins their bodies can't take it, so their body mutates. and it's a bad problem. And Arimon loses his brother to that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so he has like this special amulet that his mom gave him and his brother, and he takes his brother's amulet and he fuses them into one just to remember his brother for the rest of time. And then, cut to like years later, they've solved the problem, they have their Primarch back. Magnus the Red is with them. He is first company captain, and he's in a legion full of fucking idiots. They're the kind of guys that, like, Arimon is, like, the kind of person who's, like, he'll take his gun apart with his bare hands, he'll clean it, he'll do everything with, like, his hands. If, like, he needs a cup of water, he'll just go grab a glass of water, do it himself. His men, like, I'll clean my bolter with my psychic powers. If I want a glass of water, I'll just use my powers to get it. And Arimon's like, you know, if you didn't have your fucking powers, you'd be fucking helpless. Helpless. You need to learn to do things on your own. Oh, and they're like, you need to stop being a butt. You need to stop speaking like a space wolf. Fuck you guys.
Oh.
And you know what's the most saddest thing? He actually had a plan for, like, when the Great Crusade was over, when, like, the legions were done, the galaxy was conquered. You want to know what his plan was? I'm going to open a vineyard. I'm going to open a vineyard. I'm going to go back to Prospero. I'm going to open up a vineyard. And I'm going to sell wine. That's what my family did back on Terra. That's what I want to do. And I'm like, oh, you poor boy. That's not what's going to fucking happen. And then fucking Magnus happens. And Magnus, to sum up the special character from 40k, like the big model that you see with like the beautiful wings.
These are the two I don't have.
Yeah. Do you know the joke around him?
Maybe.
The joke of Magnus did nothing wrong.
Yes, I've seen that, heard that around.
I hate that fucking joke so much as a lore nerd. Because this fucker did everything wrong. He was an arrogant, egotistical prick who thought he knew better than everyone. And, like, Psychers in 40k are treated very horribly. They're treated as non-human and, like, freaks of nature, and the Thousand Sons were treated the same way. And Magnus, like, has a point that, like, we're no different than you. We should be treated as brothers and cousins all the same. But his way of doing it is like, haha, I have made myself as tall as a titan to punch out this fucking titan. In front of the guys who are scared of him. That's not helping the situation.
That's hilarious, though.
And it got so bad that they had a trial. And Trial of Nikeia. Jesus Christ. Your religious references hurt me, Emperor. And this...
Oh my. Dude, Sigmar's not Thor.
Pretty much. And fucking, it's basically like a decision on if we should use Psychers in battle or not. And Magnus is on the side of, yeah, we should use them in battle. And regardless of what the other side said, Magnus does a really stupid fucking thing during this and, like, tells the tale of the men in the cave. You know, the story of where a guy sees the sun and tries to convince the other guys and they brutally beat the shit out of him for it. He proceeds to lie to the guy that probably lived in that society when that story came to be, and basically change the ending that, like, yeah, they all embraced the sun, they were happy, they were doing the jiggy. Hello.
Which one?
I am an Ultramarines nerd, so please do Uriel. I love Uriel. He's a good boy.
I only got him because I knew he wasn't going to be around very long.
I love that model. I wanted it so bad. Anyway, the Emperor basically says psychic powers are illegal. You can't use them. You can only use them if you are specifically sanctioned and trained by the Imperium school that does it. Any Marines that are inside the Psychic Librarius is meant to be shut down. They are to return to their proper squads. And Magnus is sad, so he goes back home. And instead of like reflecting on what he did, he's proceeded to use his powers to fucking puppet a guy with a typewriter about like making his memoirs, even though this guy's hands are bleeding because he's been doing it for so long. And he gets a vision of the future, and it's the Horus Heresy. His brother Horus is falling to chaos. He's gonna go traitor. I have to stop this, says Magnus, holding up his hand. Quickly, bring me 1,000 serfs and my top advisors. Okay? They get all of them around, and he's like, we're gonna do the one thing that will possibly not backfire. And what's that? I'm gonna psychically communicate with Horus. Didn't your dad just say that's illegal as fuck? Yep. I'm gonna do it. Start the sacrificing, guys. The what? Start the sacrificing, guys. Goes to try and stop Horus from falling to chaos. Spoiler alert, he fell to chaos because Magnus is an idiot. Anyway, so Magnus is shot back into his body. Ahriman's like, so what did we learn? Okay, so I couldn't stop Horus. We're doubling down. You're already so you're up shit creek without a paddle. How deep can this go? I'm gonna talk to my dad. Oh, cool, you're gonna get on a ship and go talk to him? No! I'm gonna do the psychic thing again.
Oh, God.
I'm talking to a brick wall, says Ahriman. And Magnus then tries to psychically communicate with the Emperor and runs into a literal fucking psychic brick wall. Because the Emperor warded the entire palace that he lives in to make sure that demons can't get in because psychic powers are intrinsically linked to them. And Magnus is like, oh no, I can't get past the wall. I'm not strong enough. And then out of the squiggly hells of chaos comes a very special demon boy. And this very special demon boy goes, hey, Magni the Red. I can give you some power if you need. I can get you through those doors. All you gotta do is shake my hand. Come on, boys. Won't you shake a poor sinner's hand? And Magnus just accepts it. He just is like, yeah, no, this can't possibly go any worse than anything else. Shakes the demon's hand. Turns out that it's fucking Tzeentch. And Tzeentch gives him the power to break through the wards and let demons in. And Magnus gets to see his dad for like 10 seconds as he's like, hey, Dad! Magnus, you fucking jackass! Oh, as he sees demons flooding into his dad's home. And so Magnus is like, yeah, I see I fucked up. Bye.
That's hilarious, though.
It's just a constant shit show of Magnus being the smartest man in the room, but making the stupidest decisions. And Ahriman, at the same time, is like, what the fuck did you do?
What'd you bring? What? That's hilarious.
It gets really sad.
I love the way you say the lore. It's entertaining, and I love it.
Everybody loves how I talk about the lore because I make it digestible.
Yes.
Reading the and like these are actually very sad stories because how the Thousand Sons go out is that they're just as loyal as the guys who are attacking them. It's just that they've fallen down so far into their powers and stuff that they don't see what's going on until it's too late. There's actually a really depressing scene in the Thousand Sons book where they're using so much magic that the problem that they thought they cured from like years ago is back, and one of their captains, who is actually a focal point character in the book, mutates, but he's still sane to a degree, and he looks at a broken window, and he sees his reflection, and the captain of the Custodes basically screams at him, "Look at what you've become, you monster." And all this guy can say to him as like this captain is going to cut him down is all he can say is, "I know."
Ooh.
And that is bone chilling to hear.
Ooh.
And what's worse is that like Magnus basically like he's having a pity party the whole time that his sons are getting slaughtered. It's Ahriman that leads the defense, and like he chews out Magnus before he leaves. Is to like go defend their home. And when like they're down to like 1,000 men, they're trapped inside the fortress, Magnus basically says, "Here's my book with all my knowledge. Wait here." And then goes and fights the Space Wolves, the Custodes, all of them. And Magnus dies during this. And he makes a deal with the devil one more time to save his sons. And it's just a further downward spiral from there. It's so sad. Because, like, he saves it, like, Tzeentch does keep his promise. He does save the 1,000 sons. He removes them from the immediate danger, but he doesn't remove the flesh change problem that they're having. And when Magnus comes back, it's as a demon prince who could really not give a shit about the problems of men, including his son. So Ahriman basically takes it upon himself to try and find a cure. And you know how your Necrons basically were cured of their problems because they were put in metallic bodies? Yeah, no, Ahriman basically said, like, I want to purify it so that way their souls remain intact. Tzeentch is a very literal fucker. And when Ahriman casted the rubric, everybody that was a very powerful psyker already basically just got a power increase. While the rest of them were turned to dust, their armor was sealed so the dust could never escape, and they're trapped in their armor as souls.
Ooh. Okay, that's actually pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's sick, but at the same time, Ahriman's like, "Oh no, I'm like Dad," and basically got exiled from his legion after that.
Jeez.
The poor bugger who just wanted to open up a vineyard is the saddest boy for me. Because he just wants to make life better, and it keeps fucking it up.
Well, do me a favor at some point, like in the next day or so. Like, I have some of the books. Send me some of the, like, if I'm just kind of just getting into it. Like I said, I love those stories and lore. When I get bombarded in a negative way, or that very, like, gatekeepy, every ounce of information thing, I can't stand it. But, like, this has my interest. Like, ooh, I want to read more about these. But that has my interest. And I think that's why I started following you to begin with, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's been my goal to make 40K as, well, any lore that I can really, as digestible as possible. Because when I get it. I get it when people are looking at the 40K lore. There are so many fucking books.
Mm-hmm.
Like, behind me, I have, most of this collection is 40K books. And people are like, where the fuck do I start? And then when I tell them that, like, oh yeah, the Horus Heresy is 54 books long, what the fuck does that tell people?
Yeah, my bestie has, like, majority of those.
Yeah, and then
like, I have books.
And it's why I say what I say when it comes to lore, is that if you want to get into it, it depends on if you want to learn about the backstory or if you want to just know the series. And if you want to know the series, Kaifus Kane, any Imperial Guard book, they drop you into the shit, or Dark Imperium, which is basically where 40k is now. Or
Like
if you,
I said, I still need to read through Soul Wars for Age of Sigmar. Like I said, I have Cassius Kane, Herald of the Imperium, like this big old thick book. I have the Sacrosancti and other stories, the Crusade and other stories. Then again, also got, Cursed City and Covenant of Blood, because I like the horror side of things.
yeah, and as Tom Click says here, there's so many long form creators, and you're one of the very few short form content makers. I genuinely appreciate your approach. People, we live in a day now where there are two kinds of people. There are people that just like listening on to long droning and all that kind of stuff, and the people who just need bite-sized information. They don't care about the long form. They just want to know what happened, how to get there, what happens now. And
Who's who, so I understand what's going on.
exactly. Like Horus Heresy. Best way to sum it up. Imperium of Man, led by the Emperor of Mankind, 20 Primarchs. His favorite is his son named Horus. Horus eventually is made the war leader of the entire Imperium, and the stress of the job, as well as seeds of jealousy that are in his head because he believes that his father set him up to fail, along with the machinations of darker powers, corrupt him and lead him to rebel against his father, dragging 8 of his brothers and their legions with him. And the war ends with him dying, him mortally wounding his father, and that leads to the modern 40k. That is the best way to sum up the Horus Heresy. And then I basically go into further detail when asked. And that is something that's very important, is that a lot of people don't understand this. If you're just going to lore dump in front of somebody, they're not going to listen, their eyes are going to glaze over, and they're not going to give a shit. Not everyone's an information repository like I am. However, what I do is that I mention 20 brothers, and then people ask, oh, well, what are the 20 brothers' names? Oh, there's like Lionel, there's Perturabo, there's Fulgrim, so on and so forth. Hi.
Don't mind me. Keep going.
And then people are like, oh, well, who are these people? Oh, well, Fulgrim is the Primarch of the 3rd Legion. He is the Phoenician. He is the champion of Slanesh, kind of a thing. And I just continue to answer questions as I'm asked. And I make it entertaining. I do my best to read what this person wants. If they want a more comedic take, I do a more comedic take, like when it comes to Fulgrim. Oh, he's like the drag queen of 40k. He is the femboy.
Yes.
He is the most fabulous motherfucker that you'll ever see in your life. Or if you want a more serious take, he is the poet of the Primarchs. He was the shining beacon of what the Imperium is, well, what the Imperium was, and basically became a dark reflection of that because he fell to chaos.
Tom clicks, I love your name.
Nobody needs 100 hours explaining the Siege of Rax. Yes! Oh my fucking god!
I don't know, I see his name and I instantly go, click, click.
Click, click. Like, oh my god.
That's my thing. Like, I wouldn't care. I care about who main people are. Like, one of my hobby goals is to have the main person of each of the factions.
Respect.
Like, the story, the guy, you know?
Like Gullyman, Abaddon, so on and so forth.
Yep.
I'm
Yep,
serious, don't worry.
exactly.
Yeah, and I like talking about that kind of stuff too. I made a series on TikTok where I was just Gullyman reacting to what was going on in the Imperium at the time.
I missed that series. You should bring it back.
You want me to bring back Gullyman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But basically, I was reading the Dark Imperium books, and I was basically just reacting as as Gulliman was, but I was making it more comedic for bite-sized for people to understand, and I was just recommending the book from there. And to some,
You Disneyfied it.
I Disneyfied it. That's the best example I've ever fucking heard in my life. I Disneyfied it.
Thank you. I've been trying to describe what he does.
And to sum up, the Ultramarines are my favorite chapter in 40k. And a lot of people are like, why? They're just the poster boys. They're boring. No, they're self-fucking-aware. And Gulliman is the most self-aware bastard. And the difference is that he's the kind of guy who is willing to learn. And when you read a man who, like, Gulliman in the lore, he went from being like the 13th Primarch of the largest legion to the guy who literally had to hold the Imperium together after the events of the Horus Heresy, and the last time he was awake was after he fought his brother Fulgrim in a duel where he had his neck slit open by 2 poisoned blades. And his last memories are of him seeing his second in command basically dragging him towards a portal screaming, "Give me covering fire." And then he wakes up 10,000 years later. Hi, I can show the baby. Yes, I can show the baby. Say hello to baby.
Cat cameo.
Cat cameo.
This is Sarah.
Hope this will catch up.
She's probably there now. Hello, baby. You are tiny.
Baby, baby.
Baby kitty. Yes, you are cute.
Mine was a baby, not the big old giant void that eats things.
Wow.
And I dropped the planet too.
But yeah, then you imagine this: the last time you saw what was going on in your world, you are bleeding out from your neck, and then it's just black. Then you wake up not 10 minutes later to a bunch of guys in black armor attacking you, and people that you vaguely remember, or like they are wearing your color, so you assume they're on your side, and you just go to town on these guys in black until you whip around after they're all dead, look at the guys in blue as they're staring up at you like, oh! You're staring at a literal fucking angel, a woman with a pointy hat, wearing your father's second-in-command symbol on her fucking hat, and a woman floating above the ground with angel wings, and and everyone's like, Primarch Gulliman has returned! And Gulliman goes in his own head, where the fuck am I? And like on the inside, he's screaming that. On the outside, he's like, I need a status report. And after he secures his home planet, he then goes, okay, I need to be alone right now. What? Why? We should be celebrating. We celebrate later. Give me 3 days. Goes to study for 3 days. Hello, tiny human.
Back. Tiny human back.
Tiny human.
Watch out, but I dropped a piece. Watch out. What do you need? You want noodle? Noodle.
Yeah. No noodles.
This diet consists mainly of Cheez-Its, goldfish, pizza nuggets, and bean dip.
I'm not much healthier. Don't worry about it.
And Fritos, too. And Fritos.
But yeah, the whole point of the Gulliman series was that I was basically making a comedic approach to him figuring out like what the heck the Imperium is now, because he went from a empire of atheism to atheism and reason to a paranoid empire that's religiously indoctrinated, and he's like, oh hell, I hate it here.
Put me back to sleep. Put me back to sleep.
He's actually quoted as saying, this Imperium should have been left to die.
I love you too, buddy boy.
And if you want to know his relationship with Daddy, it's actually covered in the book. And basically, when Gulliman was brought back, it was a whole event in 40k. It was 7th edition to 8th edition. And in the 7th edition books, they basically say, like, no one knows what the conversation was between the Emperor and Gulliman. All we know is that he came out with a new purpose in life. Yeah, you want to know what that conversation was? He entered into the Golden Throne Room. He sat down with his father's corpse, which psychically linked with him. They're in a white void with the Emperor working at a fucking tool table. And he's like, hey, Dad. Long time no fucking talk. Oh, hey, 13. You know my fucking name. It's Dorn, right? It's fucking Gulliman. Right, yeah, my favorite tool. How you doing?
Which bitch is this? Oh, gotcha.
Basically, all the Primarchs can be summed up as daddy issues. And that's the funniest fucking thing.
The Slanesh come over like, you need a hand with that?
That is just Fulgrim. Do not. Fuck. There's actually my favorite interaction in all of Warhammer is the interaction between the Primarch Perturabo, who is the Primarch of the Iron Warriors, and corrupted Fulgrim. And basically, to describe this quick, is that Perturabo and his legion, they are just hardcore siege warfare. They're cold, they're calculated. I will happily throw you into a minefield to save my own skin, kind of a thing. Masters of siege warfare. Very militaristic. So imagine these guys all in parade formation. Perturabo, this fucking man-child of a military soldier, is like standing at attention. He's like, the Emperor's children are coming. We should show these peacocks how proper military parade formation is. And his officers are like, yeah, anything you say, boss. And then one of them has his binoculars out, and he's looking out towards the direction that the Emperor's children are coming in. Hey, sir? Is there supposed to be a dust storm coming? No. I have planned this specifically on this day that this planet would be perfectly fine for Fulgrim to land with no problems whatsoever. Yeah, what's with that pink dust cloud in the distance? What? Yeah, take a look. Looks through. All he sees is the best way I can describe this as a pride parade. It's a fucking pride parade. But not like the innocent pride parade where like it's family friendly. No, this is like the straight up 18 plus. It's a fucking festival, dude. Where like there's like people that are hopped up on all sorts of drugs. There's BDSM people whipping other people. It's a whole fucking show. And then when they finally get close enough, Fulgrim, Primarch of the Emperor's Children, last time Perturabo saw this guy, he was in regal purple armor. His hair was done, like, perfectly. He is the perfect specimen. This man is wearing drag with only a fucking, with only a bathrobe. Yes, now just imagine Sigvald in only a bathrobe and wearing makeup.
That sounds hot.
And he goes balls showing to the entirety of the 4th Legion and his brother and says, Perturabo, my dearest brother, how have you been? With his balls to the world. And Perturabo is just like, he's so stunned about what he's seeing. And he's just like, everything is fine, Fulgrim. What the fuck happened to you?
That's great.
It is the funniest fucking scene. And even better is that, like, Perturabo's like, so you came here to tell me about a mission that we're going on. Yes, of course. So we should probably go to my war tent to talk about it. No. War tents are too boring, too formal, Perturabo. We have to do something else. Like what? It's a fucking briefing. Yes, but I must regale everyone with a story. I want your Iron Warriors to build me an amphitheater. What?
What?
I want a fucking theater so I can put on a show while I'm giving this brief Perturabo. You're not a very good showmanship about this. And guess what Perturabo does? Builds the fucking theater. it's so wild, but it's so good. There's always those good moments in 40K that I love talking about.
Yeah, that's like see for me, my brain's like, I need to find out the rest of these stories.
There's also like my favorite moment for one of the Primarchs, and that's Lionel Johnson dealing with his brother Conrad Kurz. And to sum these two up is that Lionel Johnson is basically the cold, calculated, I am always in military mode. He is the introvert of the Primarchs. He doesn't know how to talk to people. But you give him command over a war zone, he will make sure that it is the perfect war. Like, his side will take little to no casualties, while the other side is completely wiped out. He is that perfect at his job. It's just that he doesn't know how to talk to people. And then there's Conrad Kurz, who's basically Batman, but with DID, and basically has learned justice by eating people.
Well, alright then.
Basically, he's been hunting down... Lionel's been hunting down Conrad for years during the Heresy, and he finally has him pinned on Gulliman's home planet. And Gulliman says, okay, ooh, yes. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. But, I'll get to your question in a second there, Tongalix. Basically, Gulliman says, like, okay, there's people on that mountain that are my people. Lionel responds with, they're fucking traitors and they've been constantly trying to undermine your rule. Why the fuck do you want to protect them? Because they're my people and I can deal with them. You have my full permission to surround the mountain range with my Ultramarines and your Dark Angels. Bring back Conrad Kurz in chains. But you are not allowed to use any weapons that could harm the people, and you're not allowed to use orbital bombardment. And I need your word on that. I solemnly swear that I won't do anything like that. 20 minutes later, yeah, nuke the mountain. But sir, my Primarch said, I don't give a shit, nuke the mountain. And they just nuke the fucking mountain. And he then looks at his men and says, yeah, no, create a kill zone perimeter around there, and there. If you see him, if he slips the net again, I'm a castrate one of you. And he walks...
I hate to cut it short, but I do need this head out. I didn't realize it was almost 8:30.
No problem.
It went down a bit, so.
No problem. Would you like me to finish the story, or are you just done?
I'm looking at them like, I gotta go, because I already hear him, like, starting.
No problem. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on.
This has been fun. We need to do this more often.
I am available whenever. And we can do build days and paint days. I do not care. It is fun talking with you. Okay.
Sounds good. We'll chat about it more. All right,
Yep.
guys. Thanks, everyone. It was great meeting y'all. You'll see me around between here and Tiki Talk.
Have a good night, Zula.
All right, night-night.
That was fun. It was very fun. I appreciate that person so much. So I'll finish this quick for all of you, but then, yeah, I'm going to end the stream because the interview's done. But yeah, basically, Lionel Johnson then climbs the mountain. He goes into this tomb where Conrad's hanging out in like a pile of corpses, and he's like, wow! I can predict the future, but I didn't fucking see that coming! And fucking Lionel's only response to him is, end quote, it brought you out of hiding, didn't it? And proceeds to fucking bane this poor bastard. It's so great. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming. That was a very fun interview. We got to talk about a lot of different things. I want to bring them back on again. They're just, oh my god, they're such a cool person. And they offered a very unique perspective, and I'm very happy to have that perspective. And if you have anyone else that is a female or minority or trans or gay or what the fuck ever in the wargaming community, I want to talk to them. I want to bring them on. I want to give them a voice. I want to give them a platform. So if you have any recommendations, or if any of you are interested in talking about this or coming on, please come on, talk. I want to talk. Or if you're someone that was a part of that problematic group of people that is trying to escape it and wants to talk and learn, I am more than willing to teach and more than willing to talk to you about it. But please remember to donate. Remember, we are $220 off of our goal. I'm very excited about that. Tomorrow I will be streaming more Sonic Frontiers. From there, we will see what happens. But I'm very, very excited. And good news, we're almost done the filming for my one lore video that I'm doing right now. And my editor is going to have a field day with that after they're done with the Cult of the Lamb best moments. So, yeah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you all so much. Good night, everybody.